Hello, I hope you everything are going very well. So I hope your online class is moving very good. So today is our online keyboard class week 3, right? I'm very excited to talk about week 3 material. As you know that we finished the chapter 1 to chapter 4 throughout this entire whole semester. So today, we are beginning to talk about the last chapter of the Tonal Practice 1 keyboard class. The last chapter is the inversions of all 5/7 chord, which is 5/6/5, 5/4/3, and 5/4/2. So this is the most difficult and most challenging part in all TP1 keyboard class. So I believe you will enjoy it. And as we know, I want to talk about a little bit information for what we will do in rest of 3 weeks. In these 2 weeks from this class or next class, I will introduce how to do the exercise with the figure base with the 5/7 inversions throughout the short progression and long progression. And this will take place in the 2 weeks because it's really important and difficult. But we will get there. So after we talk about it, will not be a difficult course. In the last week, we will review for entire the whole semester, and I will send your final exam with the recording project. And I will talk to you how to do the project and what we will be concerned into the project. So also we will review some of the previous material during this field class. Okay, so if you have any questions about the plan that how we will do the assignment, how the final exam going, we can keep in touch. You can send me the email. Now I want to congratulate all of you that because we finished all the cadential progression exercise. So are you happy with that? Because we do not have any assignment about CP exercise. Because for the TP1, CP9, and CP10 is our last CP exercise, right? So the rest of the 2 weeks, like week 3 and week 4, we will only do the long progression exercise. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you for your play the CP exercise through this semester. But in the final exam, you still have to play 2 CP exercises, which will be announced very soon. So don't worry about it. So let's get started. Okay, and now we are going to talk about the inversions of the 5/7 chord, which is as shown on the screen, will be 5/6/5, 5/4/2, and 5/4/3. And we do not need to study about 7/6 chord in the TP1 class. So as you know that we talked about the 5/7 root position in the last online class, I hope you all watch the video and complete the quiz in the NEO about the different multiple choice. So for the 5/6/5 chord, 5/4/2 chord, and 5/4/3 chord, before I really get started this progression, I want to tell you about that. Last week we studied about complete 5/7 and incomplete 5/7, right? But for the 5/7 inversions, we have all the inversions with a complete chord, which will be 4 different notes. We do not and we cannot have an incomplete 5/7 inversions. For example, I cannot say that, oh, I want to play an incomplete 5/6/5, incomplete 5/4/2. That's not possible. Okay? Before I get this progression, let's review how to resolve the 5/7 chord. The good news is that to resolve 5/6/5, 5/4/3, and 5/4/2, the rule is exactly the same as the 5/7 root position. The 4 tendency notes, the first, 7th of 5/7 going down by a step. This is the most important. Third of the 5/7 inversions, the leading tone going up by step. And the 5th of the 5/7 inversions going down by step. In the last, the root of the 5/7 chord inversions, right, which is scale degree 5th, just we keep. So now let's go to talk about 5-6-5 chord. So 5-6-5 basically is the first inversion for the 5-7. If I play a 5-7 chord, like, right, and now we invert to the 5-6-5 as the screen show in here, 5-6-5 section A we did. Let's check about the voice leading. First, the 5-6-5 chord, the 7th should go to down by step. The leading tone, which is in the bass, move up by step. Right? The root of the 5-6-5 chord, which is G, just a keep, and 5th sending down by a step. So the resolution will be and then after this progression, the second is introduced just from the lip with fourth in the soprano will be 1-6, 5-6-5, 1. So this is actually more interesting because we have the the perfect fourth melodic line. When you play the long progressions, short progressions, this melodic line will make your soprano line more interesting and more beautiful. So 5-6-5 section B will be, right? 1-6, 5-6-5 to 1. And the last progression, which will be easiest, like the 5-6-5 section C, because do you see they all keep the soprano line with the G. So, right? So that's for the 5-6-5 chord. So when you do the 5-6-5 chord, so you just need to be remembered that the 7th should sending down, right, by a step. Hopefully you understand, and I hope that you can practice the 5-6-5 chord first, and then to move to another, because 5-6-5 is the easiest progression in all of the 5-7 inversions. Okay, now let's go over to the 5-4-2. The 5-4-2, which is a little bit trickier than the 5-6-5 because it's a third inversion for the 5-7 chord. Let's look at the first progression, which will be 1-5-4-2 to 1-6. 1-5-4-2, 1-6. So this progression, I want to tell you that 5-4-2 always resolve to 1-6. It will be always. The reason is that because now the 5-4-2, the bass is the 7th of the 5-7 chord, right? Because if we invert back to the 5-7 root position, the fa, F, will be the 7th of that chord. So 7th going down by a step, it caused that the bass go to the E, which will be automatically a 1-6 chord with the first inversion of the 1. So because the 7th cannot go to lip by a fourth or up by a fifth. The 7th doesn't resolve if I do that. So be careful, the 5-4-2 always resolve to 1-6. 7th going down, the 3rd going up. And the part B, actually in here, the descending line with the soprano. The descending line with the soprano will be 3-1 in the soprano. We can do 1-5-4-2. Keep the common tone and move other voice as little as possible. Right? So look how they notate this pitch, because the fifth of the 5-4-2 chord sent down to a step and the leading tone going up by a step. So it's been rewritten with a unison with a soprano and an alto voice in here. That's the 542. So now I want to introduce their special, really special about 542 chord that I want to highlight in this moment for the part C, because the part C has a really different resolution than the rule. They don't follow the rule like the section C. So let me play this progression for you. Can anybody tell me about what's the difference between this progression to part A and part B just we taught 1 minute ago? Okay, so let's go back to the rule. The 7th of the 5/7 chord, like going down by a step. The 3rd going up by a step. The root will keep. However, in here, the 5th of the 5/7 inversions, in this case, doesn't going down by a step. Instead, they leap by a perfect fourth interval, right? So we expect that the 5th should sending down by a step, like part B in here, like part B. So we expect to hear 3, 2, 1, right? So, but in the case of the part C of the 542 chord, it sending up by a perfect fourth interval. What he do is about 542 to 16, the 5th leaping to a perfect fourth interval up. Now let me only play the bass and the soprano. Which one you like better? The first is second. So I like the second one because the second one, the leap of the fourth, really make the progression more interesting. I feel very be touched with this perfect fourth interval because it's like we climb a mountain that we do a surprise, right? So when you do the part writing about 542 to 16, you can leap the 5th, right, to a perfect fourth interval. Let me show you what's the rules. So 542, usually the 5th of the 5/7, 5/6/5, 5/4/3, and 5/4/2 goes down by a step. However, the 5th of the 5/4/2 chord can leap to perfect fourth interval up. I mean leap up to a perfect fourth interval to make the beautiful melodic line. Here's the example just I showed before. So keep in mind that this situation is acceptable for the 5/4/2. Okay? Could I move on? I believe so. So now, let's go to the hardest one, which is 5/4/3. Some of you, I think, did know about 5/4/3 a little bit. So first, let's just go over the section A, which is very normal. 1, 5/4/3 to 1. This is 1, 5/4/3 to 1 chord. So in this case, the 7th going down by a step, the leading tone going up, right? The keep, the 5th, and the root. Yes, the root will keep, and the 5th sending down. So that's the normal way to resolve. So for the 5/4/3 chord, it always go to 1 chord. I can tell you. But however, let's go to the section B in here, which will make more interesting. For example, the section B has 5-4-3 resolved to 1-6 chord. And if I play this progression for you, okay, I play this progression for you, so you can tell me what's the difference. Okay, some students will say, oh my god, the seventh of the 5-4-3 chord doesn't resolve properly. I mean, yes, it's not resolved properly. I agree with you. So this is the seventh for the 5-4-3 chord. It resolves up by a step rather than going down by a step. Second, if you found the leading tone is going up, that's correct. However, in here we have a parallel fifth, which is a diminished fifth chord to a perfect fifth chord, which is called a parallel fifth, with diminished fifth to perfect fifth. Oh my god. If this case is in your part writing, you can imagine how many points you will lose, right? I know. It's kind of a disaster. I know. And also the fifth is not resolved. Okay. And let me circle the perfect fifth right now. Okay, now this progression, the 5-4-3 chord, resolved to 1-6. So why it can resolve to 1-6 chord? Let me play again with only bass and soprano. Okay, did you hear a ascending line with the bass and soprano in both moving by parallel third? I mean, this is actually not a third because we are larger than an octave. It's like a parallel tense, right? This is parallel tense, parallel tense, parallel tense, which 3 consecutive tense interval between the soprano and bass. Did you hear? Okay, next, I can directly tell you what's the reason and why this chord progression works very well. First, the first reason is that the composers always do the tonic prolongation in the beginning to prolong the one, which will be tonic prolongation. Oh my god, my spelling maybe is not correct, but tonic prolongation, which will be because we used the passing 6-4 before, right? Do you remember? Sorry for the mistake, but you can hear that we prolong the one chord. So now, if we do this progression, we still prolong the one, and the 5-4-3 chord is here as a passing 4-3 instead of really a 5-4-3 chord in this case. It has a passing function. So I will not label it as a 5-4-3 chord. I will label it as a passing 3-4, passing 4-3 or passing 3-4, whatever you want. Because if you look the soprano and the bass, it has the same direction that moving by parallel tense. Right? So that's called a passing 6-4, passing 4-3. Before that, we talked about a little bit about passing 6-4 chord, which is really like a tonic prolongation, which is the voice exchange with the bass and the soprano, for example. But in this case, we are moving to passing 4/3 to do the tonic prolongation. In this case, the diminished fifth can be going to a perfect fifth. So that's the only time you can do that. Last week, I told you about the difference between about the parallel fifths. First, I told you the parallel fifths go to the diminished fifths. It's okay, it's allowed. On the contrary, the diminished fifths go to a perfect fifth. Is not allowed. But in this case, from today we study the 5/4/3 chord. We can do the diminished fifths to a perfect fifth if this 5/4/3 chord as a passing 4/3. There are two conditions that we must be remembered. First, one voice should keep the common tone. I will write the two principles. One voice should have a common tone or keep a common tone. The second, which will be, we must have the parallel. Oh my god, my spelling is really bad. So, how to spell the parallel? P-A-R-A-E-L-L. Oh, maybe. Oh my god. Okay, parallel. Parallel tense. Sorry, I forgot the spelling. The parallel tense must be as 3 consecutive parallel tense. Let's hear this progression again in C major. Parallel tense. Right? So that's all called a passing 4/3. Also, another reason this progression works is because when we study the one-to-one counterpoint, so we can use a same motion with 3 consecutive third or 6 interval, but no more than that. If you remember, if we use the contrapuntal thinking of this progression, I think it will be works. And in the section C, it's just by a descending motion. Right? Okay, I want to talk to you that this passing 4/3 is really important. I know that some of you will not like to use this progression in your keyboard. I know last semester some of students really told me, oh Jiaqi, this progression is really hard to memorize. It's really I don't like it for the parallel fifths, etc. Yes, I understand. However, when you do the longer progression with the opening, there are a lot of exercise open with 1/5/4/3 to 1/6. So if you use this tonic prolongation, your rest of the progression will be really easier to play if you start like that. So by memorize this rule I put in this handout, I will post on you. 5/4/3 chord can be used in a passing function. When the passing 3/4 occurs, the seventh of the 5/4/3 can going up by a step to serve as a passing function, which means that in this black arrow, the seventh going down because, right? Although this is another passing 4/3, this is going down by a step. But actually in here, the red arrow going up by a step to make the parallel tense. So that's for the passing 4/3. Okay, so now let's review a little bit what we did in here. Okay, 5/7 chord, we must resolve to 1, like in the keyboard. There are no other option. 5/6/5 chord, always resolve to 1. 5/4/3, will be resolved 1 or 1/6 chord. Most of time, if you want to resolve to 1/6, that probably will have the parallel tense between two voices. Last, 5/4/2, always resolve to 1/6. That is, you must be memorized. Must be memorized. Okay? Okay. So before you do this assignment, please practice your keyboard. Page 44. And now, we are going to talk about how to do the assignment for this week. First, we need to introduce about how to realize the figure bass for the all 5/7 chord. In your assignment, you will see that a 7, 3, 5, 7 below the note, which will be tell you about you will play the 5/7 in root position. I'm not very strict on if you play the complete or incomplete 5/7 chord. If you see a 6/5 chord, it automatically a 5/6/5 chord. If you see something like 4/3, like 6/4/3 below the note, it tells you this is a 5/4/3 chord. Also, if there's a sharp or a natural with below the note, it tells you that it's an accidental, maybe raise up the leading tone. The last 4/2 is just a third inversion of the 5/7, which will be 5/4/2. Okay. And now this week, we will have some assignments that due by the Sunday. So the first assignment will be I remember I already post on the new. So sorry about that. I need to check. So what we did. So give me a second, please. So okay, here. Okay. The assignment is 86, 88, 90, and 91. So now let's do the 88 together. I will do 88 and another one I want to do with you will be 90. I will do 88 and 90 with you on the keyboard. First, let's understand the Roman numeral. The 88 starts on the G minor, so this is one chord, and this is 5/4/2. And second, if you realize this figure bass is a 6, and the B flat above a 6 is about 1/6, and this is nothing below the note, it should be a root position of 4, and cadential 6/4, 5, 2, 1. Okay, now for play the long progression, did you remember what I told you before the midterm? The most important part of the long progression is to find a good soprano line. From now, so how can I find a good soprano line? For example, let me just randomly pick a note 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3. I start on the fifth. Okay, the progression will be right 5/4/2, 1/6. Oh, that's work. That works really well. How about we can start on the third? 1/6, 4, cadential 6/4, 5, 1. Another option that we can use that what we studied. If I want to make more interesting melodic line, I can leap the fifth of the 5/4/2 chord to a perfect fourth up. 1, 5/4/2, the fifth, moved by a perfect fourth. Okay. So for the 88, you should to try the different possibilities and practice very slow. You do not need to go very fast like me, because what I think is that for you is better to understand and how to how to do the all voice leading correctly. Okay. Okay, now this video will introduce you how to practice the number 90, because number 90 is really important. So let me tell you about the different possibility of the opening. First, you have the bass line, which is right in the bass, which is scale degree 1, 2, 3. And if you realize the Roman numeral will be 1, 5, 4, 3 to 1, 6. The number 90, if we want to have a good soprano line, I recommend you start with to doing parallel tense between the soprano and bass. So let me try to do the parallel tense. 1, 5, 4, 3 to 1, 6. Right? That's called a parallel tense. So when you see the bass is a 1, 2, 3, start with a 1, 2, 3, you can realize that my soprano can use scale degree 3, 4, 5 with 1, 5, 4, 3 to 1, 6. And the next chord, which will be 2, 6 chord. Remember, 2, 6 we double the third. And then cadential 6, 4. 5, 7. Complete 5, 7 to resolve incomplete 1. So the number 90, the progression will be 2, 6, cadential 6, 4, 5, 7, 1. Okay, so that's for the number 90. And next, I want to tell you about your second assignment. So because next week, we will officially move to longer progressions. The longer progressions will contain with the 2 music phrases, because you studied like the sentence and period. I will call it's like something like a period. You have 2 cadence. So what my concern is that because we need to review about voice leading. The voice leading is really important in our part writing and also on the keyboard. So another assignment for this week, I will not let you do 103 first. We will start writing this progression in the keyboard format. I will send you a PDF file about like writing this harmonic progression. So before the next week video, I want to see your harmonic progression, and then I will talk to you about about different techniques for making a good soprano line. But I want you to focus about this progression. By writing this progression, you need to use the keyboard format, and this is just like a 4-part writing, right? With a keyboard format, with 3 notes in the soprano, 1 note in the bass, and you should to write all the Roman numerals underneath. So I know this is the second assignment. I know there are a lot of work to do because it's the hardest part. Within the tonal practice 1, we must have a lot of the practice. So what I'm talking about for the theory study, although we need to understand, like to analyze the music, to be more flexible, to a range or mind about all the knowledge, but I can be very responsible to tell you that a lot of practice will be very helpful. Because without any practice, you will not be familiar with any chord and any content that we study. So that's why I assigned the extra work for the voice leading practice. And next week, we will study 103 together with the writing first. And then we will go to the keyboard to talk about how to make the good soprano line. So that's why I want to like you to write this progression down by a paper. After you write this progression for the week 4 assignment, you can just play this progression with looking your score. But for the 104, 105, another assignments, you should not write anything. Okay. I know that this kind of the class making really hard right now. I know that long progression will be a disaster and will be really challenged. Oh my God, I cannot do it. However, I can tell you that if you can make the long progression, make a good soprano melody by yourself, you will be very happy. I'm a composer to compose the music every day almost. What I think from the keyboard now that when I do one exercise for the keyboard, I'm making the music and I'm trying to express my internal feeling of the music to express to other people. So although the keyboard, we know that we study only 1451 with only 4 chords, right? And we study like the CP4 with 1, 6, 4, 5, 1. Although this is really simple, we still can hear that the progression begin with a tonic, like tonic prolongation, predominant, dominant to 1. So I'm talking to this because when you study the keyboard, when you hear what you play, you are really realize what you do, and you really are starting to be professional in the tonal music. So that's the meaning of why we did like the keyboard class, why we do this really challenge exercise in all the long progression. I know some of you can writing very well in the manuscript paper, but although I can write the progression down, you really not hear, to what the progression sound like. If you play the progression in your own instrument or in the keyboard, you are starting to hear the tonal music because keyboard is actually the basics of the tonal music. From what I did, I want to share my little bit experience to you about what I'm practicing the keyboard right now. Although I teach you for every week, whatever in NEC or in online, I practice the keyboard every week. For example, this is just for the first inversion exercise. Oh my God, there are lots of lines. But if I practice this keyboard exercise, I'm really enjoying it. So this is from the keyboard exercise from the 36. Okay, I'm sharing this because I want to encourage you to understand the pleasure for that keyboard can give you. For the number 36, I only use root position and the first inversion. And now I'm making the number 36 of my keyboard exercise, and I'm starting to compose the music. So this is basically, I didn't show you completely about number 36 exercise from what I did. So you will hear a lot of like the first inversion chord. What I'm doing this keyboard to correspond what I'm teaching in the keyboard lab. I find that like the keyboard exercise is really helpful. It's really helped me to understand the tonal music because I can hear a lot of like the tonic prolongation, subdominant, dominant into this exercise. So that's why we study like the keyboard. And I encourage you like to practice and to try to think to make your own music with 103. And please let me know if you have any questions. And for the next week, we will start to talk about different technique to make the harmonic progression and to make the long progression in your keyboard. And I hope you're doing well and stay safe and everything be the best. I'm looking forward for your assignment for next week. Thank you.